Hello everybody, it's Direfon here again with another update to Apacies. This one has a lot of user-facing updates, so hopefully you will enjoy the update. I know the last one was a little bit on the back end, but got a lot of things done that you will be able to see an impact with this update in particular. And hopefully next update too. So let's get into it. To begin with, we've got a bar at the bottom of the screen. I updated the walking speed so that it's a little bit faster instead of just, super slow and making you want to run all the time. So regular base walking speed, and I press shift and I start sprinting. There's a decreasing time. You can press shift again to stop sprinting. So it's a toggle on, toggle off sprint right now. Sometime later on, when I have button controls, I want to make that toggleable, whether or not it is toggle on or while you're holding sprint. For the time being, I feel like toggle on is good enough. So we're in the Aho Caves. To begin with, yes, you can still sprint and whatnot, but if you press spacebar, you turn into an Apacies and you can't trigger a battle. You turn into an Apacies when you press spacebar, and you can't trigger battle. There is a cooldown afterwards so that you have to regain your own senses, but this is a placeholder for rolling. I'm not an animator, especially when it comes to Unity itself, so when I wanted to make a roll mechanic, I needed something to display that you're doing that, and I thought, okay, it's a decent idea that you're blending in with Apacies as you're rolling, so that way you don't trigger any combat. It's also kind of fun that you can just push them around. I didn't know that before. Oh, they ski. That may or not be fixed in the later updates, but either way. So if you're being crowded by a massive Apacies and you don't want to just continue to trap them over and over again, you can do that. Also, because I wanted to expand this overland movement capabilities, or what you can do in the overworld itself, I added this. You can specifically trigger combat with one Apacies if you hit that in particular. So I hit this corkscrew, which will still spawn up here, but if you're walking a direction and you press E, you throw out one of the dream catchers and that triggers combat. And it only triggers combat with one of those creatures. Well, that one was captured. So, specifically that corkscrew. If any other Apacies are nearby, it will not trigger, unlike if you run into them as a trainer itself. So it's a way to pick out one creature in particular that you think is something that you want. Another thing is that I added some more overworld capability identifiers. So if we went back in time and looked at this creature running around, it had a green trail. I believe that is because it has planter, much because of the plant that's growing out of its slowly decaying corpse. Just another easier way to identify different creatures. When it comes to battle update changes, majoritively it is adding abilities. So I have spent a number of hours in the past week alone updating so that every ability that I have, and 3 that I haven't assigned yet, are implemented into the game. I can show off a little bit of this. For different abilities, they have a myriad of different effects. Some can be, if you crit, it does extra damage. A lot of this is based off of the Pokemon Tabletop United system. That's how this whole project started. So DB is damage based, and it's just a way to categorize how powerful a move is. It doesn't include things like combat stages or attack power of your mon, but it does double the power of the base move itself. Now there are some ones that just add flat damage, like Last Chance. I'm pretty sure just like Pokemon, any Last Chance just give a boost to that type. Everything that you see here is implemented in the game. That does not mean it will not change. Some of these may change without me even telling you in the future. Some might even change before I actually release the game. But stuff like all allies gain +2 to that stat at the start of combat, it's a nice little boost at the beginning to help your team get rolling. This really just allows for Apacies to be able to diversify. So whenever you catch an Apacies out in the wild, they have at least one ability at all times. There are 5 abilities that each species of Apacies have available to them, but once they evolve, those often change, and they can add on the new ones and keep the old ones at the moment. That again might change, but I'm just thinking of a way where you can have a perfect team for speed runs, a perfect team for Nuzlockes and stuff like that. I'm not focusing on what team will be perfect. I am just giving options to the players. I don't want to control that much, and if it seems that a particular team is too powerful, I'm not afraid to nerf them. I have already changed a number of these abilities from what they used to do in order for me to code better and for me to get more diversity in the game itself. So that's the major thing. This is the battles and interactivity update. Just anything revolving around battles, that's what I wanted to focus on here. And honestly, I think I did a pretty decent job. The interaction before battles and abilities, which I've been pushing off since early alpha, is a fantastic feeling to know that that is done and I no longer have to worry about abilities unless I add a number of them down the road. But what I have now is done, and that makes me so incredibly happy. So, what's gonna happen next update? The next update, Apacies and Apacies in the world. How do Apacies interact with the world, and how does that change the gameplay? A death sequence. At the moment, your Apacies can still die. There's no real indication of that, they just disappear. So I need to show the player why that happened, indicate when it happens, and give some emotional impact for when somebody in your team dies. It is not Nuzlocke tier hard. They don't get knocked out and they die. But if they get knocked out too often, it whittles down a hidden health stat that once it reaches 0, they die. So at the moment, that hidden health stat can never completely heal, but it can reach a limit and heal itself up till there. There is another menu that I want to add to the battles themselves. What happens when an Apacies is fainted? Again, at the moment, they disappear from combat and they aren't replaced by anything. At the very least, I want them to automatically be replaced by whoever's next in the line, which might be an interesting strategy for how you place different Apacies in your party. So I might go with that. Or another menu, kind of like how Pokemon does it, but that might be a little too easy, giving players too many options at the moment and not prep time and a preparation strategy. Very, very small. I want to add a link to Discord in the game. That way you click the link and you're invited into the Discord channel as it is. If you're curious about joining, I think I'm gonna be leaving a link in the description below. For right now, it's just me and a couple friends that are on the Patreon. It is supposed to be a Patreon exclusive, but honestly, nothing's happened there because most of my Patreons are just friends and me talking other chats. So I think I'm gonna open that up to the public for the time being. So join in while you can. For now, I'm mostly showing concept art of different Apacies, and I've even gotten some fan art from people I know in real life. So I'm super happy about that. And lastly, next update, it's Apacies and Apacies in the world. So next update, you will have the majority of Apacies available to be captured in different segments of the world. Now, obviously, this excludes legendaries and whatnot, but I want each Apacies to have a place in the world itself, even if it's a very, very minimal spawn. Something hidden, who knows? I'll have to figure that out, but over these last 2 months, I have worked on the designs of the different creatures, and only one has yet to have a design, and it's a pain in the butt. I hope you all have enjoyed. Sorry for the weird recording, and I, again, don't know when that camera first stopped, but I appreciate you being here. If you like anything here, please let me know. I am trying to build out this game and make a living off of making games, so I'll link the Patreon as well in the description below. Hope to see you around. Thank you, and have a good night.